Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving into some truly living waters today. We're going to unpack one of the most incredibly comforting texts in all of Scripture, and that's Psalm 91. Whether you're coming here seeking a moment of Christian instrumental meditation to just calm your mind, or you really want to dig into the deep, structural promises of God's divine protection outlined in this text, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down exactly what this ancient poetry actually means for us right now, today. Because let's face it, we have to ask, in a world full of terror, destruction, and conflict, how can we possibly find peace? It's a heavy question, right? Our days are absolutely nonstop, our news feeds are honestly just overwhelming most of the time, and sometimes our faith feels literally pushed to the limit by all the chaos. And this is exactly the tension that Psalm 91 tackles head-on. It gives us an answer, but as we're going to see, it requires a very specific posture from us. And this distinction perfectly captures that posture. It's the difference between just visiting God versus actually living in God's shelter. The text makes it clear those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest. The author of our source material hits the nail on the head here. Finding real peace isn't just about, dropping by for a quick visit with God when things get rough. It's about actively dwelling there, setting up your permanent residence. If you need safety today, the text promises it's absolutely there, but it demands that deep dwelling connection. Section 1. Imagery of divine protection. Finding rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Listen to this specific language for a second. He will cover you with his feathers. He will shelter you with his wings. Now, when we think of protection today, our minds usually go straight to concrete bunkers, steel vaults, or high-tech security systems, right? But Scripture, it uses this incredibly intimate, organic imagery of a shelter. It's not just a cold stone fortress. It's the literal warmth of feathers and wings. It paints this picture of a refuge that is so close, personal, and deeply comforting. It's just a massive, powerful portrait of what divine protection actually feels like. So what exactly does this shelter protect us from? Well, the psalmist gives us a comprehensive list. It is incredibly thorough. We're talking rescue from every single hidden trap, protection from deadly disease, and being literally armored by God's faithful promises. It even breaks it down by the time of day, offering freedom from the night terrors that can haunt us, and the arrows, whether literal or metaphorical, that fly at us during the day. It's addressing the invisible anxieties that keep you awake at 2 in the morning, and the very visible disasters that hit right at midday. 10,000. The psalm scales up its promises to a staggering degree, saying, though 10,000 are dying around you, their evils will not touch you. Just to put that into perspective, the text is emphasizing that this protection isn't just for minor, everyday inconveniences. It offers a powerful, heavy-duty anchor even when you are surrounded by overwhelming, large-scale calamity. It's an absolute assurance that the shelter of the Most High is going to hold firm, no matter how wild the destruction gets outside. And the way this protection actually works is fascinating. The text boldly declares, "For he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go." Now, the source material points out something really interesting here. While Psalm 91 doesn't name one specific historical event, the language deeply echoes the covenant assurances we see way back in Deuteronomy 28. It's recalling this ancient promise that obedience and nearness to God bring genuine, rock-solid security. It's a covenant relationship where angels are actively commanded to hold you up so you won't even stub your foot on a stone. To really bring this home, I want to share a quote from our source author, Rachel G. Scott. She shared this deeply personal story about navigating a really difficult season in her life. She said she picked up a little book on Psalm 91 and, quote, "I felt so loved, seen, and protected by God simply by reading and understanding what this text means. That is the sheer power of a meditative reading of this text. It's not just an old poem. It has the capacity to make you feel actively seen and shielded right in the middle of your hardest moments." Section 2. Trusting without testing God. The intersection of trust and wisdom. Let's look at how this builds across the biblical timeline, because you might actually recognize the language of Psalm 91, specifically the part about the angels catching you from the New Testament. During the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, which we see in both Matthew and Luke, the enemy literally quotes Psalm 91 to Jesus. He challenges Jesus to throw himself off the highest point of the temple, basically saying, hey, doesn't the scripture say angels will catch you? Suddenly, Psalm 91 becomes this vital teaching moment for us about how Scripture should and absolutely shouldn't be understood and applied. So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is understanding the difference between trust and presumption. Trust is biblical security. It's deeply rooted in dwelling with God. Presumption? Well, that's trying to manipulate those divine promises just to test God. Jesus fires back at the enemy by saying, "Do not test the Lord your God." Our source makes this beautifully clear. God's protection is 100% real, but it is not some magic spell meant to be manipulated or used to force God's hand. And that leads us to a pretty sobering but totally grounding truth. A covenant relationship is not a guarantee of avoiding hardships. Psalm 91 sits right at this fascinating intersection of deep trust and practical wisdom. It passionately affirms God's care and his ultimate deliverance, for sure. But it also reminds us that being in a relationship with God doesn't mean we just get a free pass from the trials of living in a broken world. We are still going to face storms, but the promise is that we have a shelter within those storms. Section 3. Dwelling in the Word, cultivating deeper roots. Now, if you're craving a real relationship with God, but you need a space to ask questions and get some solid answers, especially when life feels totally chaotic, our source highly recommends the Deeper Roots community. You can find them at wordandseed.com/community. They provide practical tools, context checks, exclusive audio teachings, and resources to help you stay consistent. The whole idea is moving from just reading the Word to actually living it out every day. And if you want to start meditating on Psalm 91 right now, today, here are 3 incredibly practical steps from the source to make this truth actually stick. First up, spend 15 minutes just reading the text in your journal. Next, engage a totally different sense by listening to it. They recommend the YouVersion Bible plan for this. And finally, write it down in your own words. Ideally, use a different translation so you really make your brain stop and process the meaning. This kind of structured repetition, that's exactly how you turn a fleeting feeling of peace into a rooted daily reality. Now, I want to turn this over to you guys. What part of Psalm 91 are you holding onto today? Is it the imagery of the feathers and the wings? Is it the promise of angels? Or maybe the rescue from hidden traps? Take a second, process what we've unpacked in this explainer, and share your thoughts down in the comments. Honestly, by articulating what stood out to you, you are actively participating in that very dwelling we talked about at the beginning of the explainer. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this final, beautiful thought from our source material. Time with God is time you will never regret spending. As you go about your day, whether you're stepping into chaos or calm, remember that the shelter of the Most High is wide open. You don't have to just visit, you are fully invited to dwell there. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this dive into Psalm 91 brings you genuine, lasting peace today. But it leaves us with one final challenge. If you found your shelter today, what steps will you take tomorrow to build your permanent residence there?